All right, Carlos. Carlos, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I'm from LA, California. I grew up around this area, South Central LA.
Hmm. And tell me about your childhood. You had both your parents when you were young?
No, my both my parents were drug addicts. Um, when I was about, I think maybe like 9, my dad came home high on pills, and back then they used to use Reds instead of heroin. And he was beating the shit out of my mom. So I knew where he kept his gun at. And I went to the closet, grabbed the gun, I came back and I shot him. I didn't shoot him intentionally like to hit him. I just aimed it, shot, and I wanted to hit him in the chest. And he wanted to go to the hospital, and nobody never told me anything about him after that.
He survived though?
I don't know.
You don't know.
They never they never mentioned anything to me about it.
You were 9.
Yeah,
Wow. Never saw him again.
no. My mom never mentioned anything about him. My grandparents either. Because during that time, my grandparents they took me and the sister that I have, this next youngest. They adopted us to get us away from my mom because she got me started on heroin when I was 10 years old.
Mm.
Yeah.
So a lot of violence in your childhood?
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up around violence and I lived a violent life. You know.
Join a gang at some point?
Yeah. Um, the gang thing. All my family members they're from the same gang. So I really didn't have to join a gang. I was pretty much born into it. You know. So I mean, I started putting in work when I was real young.
What age did you start?
Probably probably around 8, 9 years old.
Wow.
I started.
And how far did you go in school?
I didn't go to school at first. I didn't start going to school till maybe I think when I was like 12 years old. 12 years old.
Mhm.
Everything I learned from the streets. I wound up getting juvenile life, and that's when I started going to school. Um, when I was 15, I wound up hitting prison. I got out of from doing the juvenile life. I was out a month, and wound up, robbing and kidnapping an off-duty sheriff. We didn't even know he was a cop. My crime got away, and I was the one that wound up getting arrested for it. And because I was a juvenile, the judge had the DA and my grandparents and some sheriffs go and get me out of the county jail because back then, and this was like in the early 80s, when they said that they couldn't find you and they lost you in the system, they lost you in the system. And what they were doing, they were pulling me out every night around 11, 12 o'clock and beating the shit out of me every day. You know what I mean? Every day. And I was so fucked up that I couldn't go to court. So they would just say they couldn't find me or I was lost somewhere, and you know, that's how they had me for about 2 months until the judge finally ordered the DA to go find me, or else the judge said that he was gonna lock up the DA. You know what I mean? So they went and they got me, and the judge was really upset because I was a minor and I should have been there. But I always looked a little bit older for my age. I already had a mustache and everything. So the cops, they figured it would be easier for them to take me to the county jail, and they had their way of getting back from what had happened to their
So you spent most of your life in prison?
prison. Yeah.
How many years in
Probably
prison?
40. I'm 53, so probably 40 years out of those 53 I spent in prison.
Oh, wow.
I'd be out. I'd be out for about a week or so, and I wind up, doing something, doing somebody a favor, putting in work, and go right back. It really didn't matter to me back then, because that's what I knew. That's what I thought was normal, but it wasn't.
Hmm.
You know.
Did you have kids of your own?
Yeah, I have 3 girls. I have 3 daughters.
But you, of course, didn't raise them because you were in prison.
Well, I've always been in their life, not physically there, but in prison. I learned how to tattoo. I was selling dope and everything, so they always had money. Whatever they needed, they got it.
Hmm.
You know, But it's just I wasn't actually physically there
Yeah.
for them.
And you've been out now for how long?
I've been out 5 years.
You've been out 5 years.
Yeah, off parole and everything already.
And what about drugs? Were drugs a part of your life?
Yeah. I was born a drug baby. I died a couple of times during that time because I was premature. I really didn't have a choice in the matter of choosing to use drugs because my mom got me started on heroin when I was 10 years old. You know, they would push me through windows of those spots where they couldn't get in. They would use me and come on.
Yeah, but since that first time your mom introduced you to heroin, you continued and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you're still using today?
Every once in a while, not like before, but you know, I wound up getting congestive heart failure because of that. You know, so now I have to take care of myself a little bit more. But instead of taking the narcotics that the doctors want to give me, I'll just do a little shot of some heroin. You know, it's better than being strung out on 4 different types of narcotic pills.
Yeah.
You know, but my choice, I don't like to use anymore, but every once in a while I need to because my organs hurt. My blood pressure's so high all the time, which it would run, I say 200 over 180, so my organs are shutting down. So little by little I'm dying. So everything that all my enemies and everything wanted to do back in the days when I was
You're
banging,
doing it yourself.
I did it to myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
You lived an interesting life. You know, it's, the abuse that you had to watch in your childhood, and then the gangs and the prison and drugs and all this. What have you learned from all this?
I learned that in a way, it was a waste of time. But if I hadn't have gone through all those things that I did, I wouldn't think the way I do today. And I wouldn't have been able to meet people that I met, which are good, solid people. And I wouldn't be able to teach my little homies the right and the wrong things, the right and the wrong things to do.
So you'll take some of the young kids aside and tell them what you've learned?
I'll whip their ass. You know what I mean? I'll whip their behind. You know, all that robbing old people, snatching purses, doing shit in the neighborhood that's uncalled for. Yeah, they know better, you know. But that's us taking the time to teach them and show them, okay, look, this is what you got to do, kiddo. You know, people make fun and they clown about, well, why are you fighting over a street corner? We'll check it out. That street corner that you're fighting for, in the long run, is going to generate thousands and thousands of dollars. That's why people fight over street corners like that. Not because, it's my neighborhood, we're going to fight over. No, it doesn't work like that. You know?
It's money at the end of the day.
It's always an ulterior motive to everything. You know? You have to have common sense. Because everybody that's in a gang has their position. There's some gunners that can't be dealers. And there's some dealers that are not cut out to be gunners. You know? You got the ones that got the gift of gab, that can talk and luring in, females to have them, drive dope across the border or whatever. And you got the ones that they're just straight knuckleheads and savages. Don't have a problem with picking up a gun, boom, shooting somebody in the head, and hey, let's go get something to eat. You know? And you got the dope dealers that, real smart. You know? They know how to generate money, and that's the thing. You generate money. You know? But in my gang, we teach the youngsters to treat everybody as family. You know? It's like being in the Marines or in the Army. You leave nobody behind. You know? And if somebody does leave somebody behind like that, then the consequences are pretty bad.
Do you find the integrity of the gang life has deteriorated over the years?
Yeah. No, it is because of speed, crystal meth. See, everybody uses crystal meth because everybody's using it. But not everybody's cut out to use that type of drug. Just like not everybody's cut out to use heroin or to use crack. You know, I know people that have used fuck crystal meth for 2 months and went crazy. I know others that have used it for years and they're okay. You know, a little bit off the rocker, you know what I mean, but they're still okay to a certain point. You know, but
And what the connection between drugs and gangs, the gang life, how tight is that? I mean,
what do you mean?
are there gang members that are totally steering clear of drugs,
Yeah.
or is it kind of?
Yeah, I mean, there's some that are, some that aren't. You know, it just depends on the individual, because I mean, not everybody knows, but you know, we all have addictive personalities to some point. You know, they use cigarettes for candy. Some people will leave drugs for sex. You know, it depends on the individual, and it depends in the hierarchy of the gang that's showing these youngsters what it is that they need to do. You know, that's the whole point. If you got shitty ass older homies that are from your hood, and I wash my hands, I steer clear of everything, then of course that gang is gonna be shit. You know, they're gonna be doing shit that's nowhere even close to what it was back in the day. You know, back in the day everybody had a little bit of integrity at least. Now it's like ain't no morals, ain't no scruples, ain't nothing. You know, everybody's just doing what they want to do, and that's what makes us look bad. You know, that's what gives us a bad name. You know, which I mean, it's criminal activity anyways, but at least, you know, you can stop drive-bys and you can stop, you know, a lot of things from happening if given the opportunity. You know.
What's your opinion of the gang life? I mean, what would you tell a young man who's considering joining a gang today?
I mean, a person's gonna do what they're gonna do no matter what. But what I would tell them is, if you're gonna do that, do it 100% or don't do it at all, because you're gonna wind up dead, or you're gonna wind up somewhere in an alley OD'd. You know. But whatever it is that person's gonna decide to do, you know, make it 100% of, you know, what you're gonna do, because if you have stepped something, you know, you're gonna wind up fucking up anyways. But as far as telling him not to join the gang, I mean, all that energy that he's gonna be, you know, exercising toward being you know, from the gang, putting in work, do it, or do something to where it's going to help your people or help people like us. You know what I mean? You know, make us come up. He eats, I eat. You go down, I'm gonna go down. You know, and that's the problem. Not too much common sense anymore. You know, that crystal meth is, and now it's that fentanyl. It's fucking people up pretty bad to where they just want to, you know, be deviant sex offenders and shit like that. And now in jail, I think like 70% of the population, they're all dropouts. I'm not a dropout. I'm still active. I'm gonna stay active till the day I die. But, you know, I know now what I can do and what I can't do, and you know, when to do it. I'm not just gonna go do something dumb like I did before. I would do before I thought. You know, now I think. And if I continue to keep sweating the small things like I did before, I'm gonna be right back. You know, for killing somebody. You know, or beating the shit out of somebody, because I got like 15 strikes anyways. You know. But yeah, that's what I would tell somebody if they approached me and asked me about that. You know.
What's the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
There's a few things. There's a few things that I've learned, but let me see. That's that. That's an interesting question right there. Um, Probably patience. Patience to not, jump the gun and make a mistake that you're gonna regret later on. That's what I would say. Patience.
Yeah, sometimes if you just sit back, things kind of work themselves out
Yeah.
without you getting.
Now, some people believe in karma, some people don't. But for people that do believe in karma, everything all comes back. Everything bad you do, it all comes back. Sometimes you might pay with watching your kids go through the same shit, or what you despise and hate the most, you watch your kids become that, and there's nothing you can do about it. You have to just sit back and just if they have to hit rock bottom, they're gonna hit rock bottom, and all you can do is just be there for them.
Kids are going to do what you do, not what you say.
Yeah,
All right, Carlos, thank you so much for sharing your story.
for sure.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
All right.